Hello there! Today I'm gonna tie a small baitfish. This is something called a see-through baitfish. This is actually a baitfish that has quite a nice profile and really looks like what it is, a small baitfish. We're gonna use two of these cocktail hackles, and I must say, if you're not familiar with these whiting hackles, you really must try them out. The markings on these feathers are really remarkable, and I use this a lot more and more instead of grizzly and stuff like that, because, well, these feathers are simply just great. So you take two feathers like this, and then you pair them so they have the underside towards one another. So basically you take them, and as you can see, it has this natural curve. So you take them and then you pair them. You lay them against one another like so. And oh, sorry, I need to attach the thread as well, of course. So I'm tying using this is a Future-fly thread and a nice thread, but I'm gonna go all the way down there. I'm gonna take my scissor here, cut off the thread, and then basically I'm gonna align these two feathers so they are exactly the same here, like this, and then I'm gonna tie them down on top of my hook like this, and I'm gonna turn them a little like that so they're gonna be even on top of the hook. I'm gonna pull them a bit like so, and there we go. Now once I've done this, what you need is the longer a scissor you have, the more easily this next part will be. Because first I'm going to decide how long this fly will be, and I'm going to say right about there is as long as I want it. Something like that, yes. Going to cut off the strands because this is going to be my tail. A second, like so. And basically what we need to do now is, in one fluent motion, I'm going to cut this so it tapers. Like that. That was not one continuous fluid motion, and that's why, as you can see, it's a bit jagged. And of course the ideal thing is that this was not jagged at all, but one complete straight line. And then we're going to do the same on the bottom side, and this is actually a bit more tricky because it's going to be on the underside, so it's not as easy. This we do to get the profile of a baitfish. As you can see, this resemblance to a baitfish is actually pretty good. So there you have it. So cut it in one go if you can. That's the ideal, but in as few goes as possible, and then simply if you're not successful, well, take two more feathers. And in order for this to stick together, what I do is I take a bit of super glue here and simply just add a very small amount here to the one side of the feathers, and then again I add on the other side of the feathers, just a bit to make the feathers stick together, like so. And if you really want to ensure that it stays there, you can simply take a dubbing needle or whatever you have laying around and just push the feathers together so they will stick there, like so. And if you're not completely satisfied, you can always just trim a little, but be careful, because every time you trim you make your fly thinner, and there is of course one point there will be a point where it's too thin. So basically that was the hard part. What we do now is to add some different materials, not many. We're going to use a bit of dubbing, 2 different dubbings, and then some bucktail and a UV curing head made from buckbond, and then we're done. So first off, I'm gonna take some white bucktail, which has eluded me in this. Oh, there it is. Just some white bucktail here. and it's important here not to use too much, because the whole idea with this is actually to make it look like a real fish, and what happens very often is we simply add too much material to the flies. I once heard a very good instructor, one of the best instructors I ever knew, fly tying instructors, and what he always started out saying when teaching was that if you haven't tied a lot of flies, then what you need to do when you start is take half of the materials that you think you need. So here, as you can see, it's really not much, because I don't want to overdress this fly, because overdressing this fly will make it look bulky and simply not lifelike in the water. So a bit of bucktail, and then I'm going to take some SLF dubbing in white. Take a small bundle of this, and the nice thing about this SLF dubbing is that it's fairly long. So I can simply take a bundle of this and tie it down, so it's gonna be all the way around the hook, but it's also gonna be a bit over and covering a bit of the see-through part of this fly. Tie it a bit further up, and then turn the part that points forward over, and tie that down again. So you get a tapering effect in that as well, like that. Okay, great. Then I take a bit of the SLF dubbing again, mix it with some Flashaboo dubbing, and then I make a small body from this dubbing. Not something big and bulgy, simply just to cover the hook here, something like this, like that. I'm not going to go all the way up, because I want a bit of red dubbing now to imitate the eels. So take a bit of red dubbing, just whatever red you have. Red SLF is a nice dubbing for this. Like so. And then in front of that I'm gonna use some more of the white dubbing. Like that. Gonna take a bit more bucktail. Again, a small amount of bucktail. What I do is I try to make these tips a bit even in length, but not completely. You know, I'm not going to use a hair stacker on this, because that will not look natural. And then I spread it out like that between my fingers, in order for me to actually get it to be as much around here as possible, like that. Gonna cut this off. That one is not supposed to be there. Like that. Then I'm gonna take some more dubbing again to make this transparent. So I'm gonna tie this down again, so it's gonna be as much as possible all the way around here, like that. I'm gonna tie this down all the way up to where I want the head, and then I'm gonna turn it over and make the head of the fly, like so. This way you get a very transparent body. And a good, nice tapered part of this fly. So I'm just gonna make sure everything is pointing backwards as I want it to be. I need a bit more on the underside of this for this to be completely as I want it to be, like that. And like that, you can add a bit of dubbing, or simply just pull out dubbing if you think that this looks not like you intended to be. But I think this really looks how I want it to be now. Got a bit out of focus there. And then I'm gonna make the whip finish. And as you can see, this is actually not that difficult to fly, and it's not that, it don't take that much time to actually do. and it really moves great in the water. So I'm gonna take my UV curing glue and I'm gonna glue one side here. So I'm simply gonna attach a bit of glue, not very much, because one of the cool things about UV glue is that you can apply a small amount of glue at a time and simply decide exactly how you want to shape the head, which is one of the major advantages compared to let's say epoxy or something like that. I want my eye to be just there. And then I need my light. Like so. And as you can see, the eye just covers the red a bit, so you have this effect of actually having the gills right behind the eye, which looks pretty cool. And is due to a bit of luck. You need to, well, basically I've just tied a bunch of these so I know where the dubbing should be approximately compared to the size of eyes I use, and well, basically that's the trick to that. See, that was not completely right. I try to do this so you can see what I'm doing while I'm doing it. So like that, attaching that, and if you see the bucktail here, the white bucktail is very fluorescent, and so is the red dubbing. So if you believe in all the hype about fluorescence and stuff like that, then this is a good way to go. Also, just gonna make the finishing part of the head here on top of this fly here. Like that. Then do this side. I mean, this is if you know how to do this, it's basically just, you know, apply a bit of glue so you get the right shape, apply the light, apply a bit of glue, apply the light, apply a bit of glue, apply the light, apply a bit of glue, and so on and so forth. So if you know that, you can basically skip most of this final part of the video. But the key here to a good head is actually patience, and simply just, you know, take your time and shape it exactly like you want it to, but do it in small steps, small steps, a little at a time, a little at a time, a little at a time. That's the key to success with this here. That one was a bit annoying and in the way. So, well, basically there you have it. A small baitfish. Thank you for tuning in. Eller det